Obviously, market participants have been watching very closely what's happening in Washington. You have the Senate's Russia probe hit a new level of intensity yesterday when Attorney General Jeff Sessions became the highest-ranking official to testify in the wake of James Comey's testimony that happened last week. Here to break it down for us, criminal defense attorney and former prosecutor David Bruno and Brad Blakeman, former advisor to President George W. Bush. Gentlemen, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, Brad, quote, appalling and a detectable lie. That is what Jeff Sessions said about any collusion with Russia. Brad, was it a good day for the Attorney General?
It was a very good day because he was factual and he was combative when he needed to be. He wasn't going to sit there like a wallflower and be pummeled by senators sitting on their dais trying to score political points. One thing is for sure, there was no evidence suggested by the senators that there was actual collusion. There was no evidence. There was only innuendo, and I think the Attorney General pushed back on that very effectively.
So, David, let me ask you, is the Democrats' narrative of Russia collusion, was it finally shut down yesterday?
Absolutely not, unfortunately, because we have the special counsel investigation, which is investigating actual crimes, and then we have the two committees, the House and the Senate, that are going to continue to issue subpoenas. They're going to continue to call witnesses, and unfortunately, this is not over. I do agree this was a good day for Sessions. He had to do three things. He had to first say there's no collusion, which he did. He had to explain the contact with Ambassador Kislyak, and finally, he had to explain the recusal. All three things were done, and they were done well yesterday.
But David, you think that this is going to continue? Because how much further can they even go, and does that involve Loretta Lynch, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's going to continue because every time we hear a witness like Comey and Sessions, they identified new witnesses that could be subpoenaed. And like I said last week, I think what's going to be critical, even after the February 14th meeting that Comey said he went and he spoke to his FBI leadership, they're going to be subpoenaed, and maybe Attorney General Lynch, and on and on and on. So unfortunately, I do not see an end to this anytime soon.
Brad, do you think that, Sessions' testimony was strong, as we've just pointed out? Do you think that he can come out of this unscathed and Donald Trump can remove himself from this, move forward, or not? We're not there yet.
I think there's nothing there to be had as far as collusion. But the one thing is for sure, and that is Dianne Feinstein said, she's a Democrat from California, that Loretta Lynch's behavior in interfering with an investigation and basically telling Comey how he's to report to the press that this is a matter as opposed to an investigation, that leaves her open to some jeopardy. And Comey is open to some jeopardy because when he leaked the documents as a private citizen, official documents made in the course of his employment, he's got some trouble there administratively. But further, the leak was to influence an investigation. So when you talk about obstruction, Comey's leak was to obstruct justice, to get it away from the Justice Department and appoint his friend as the special counsel. I think that is very troubling.
Brad, real quick, I just want to ask you, one of the more fiery moments yesterday was between Senator Wyden and Sessions over Sessions' recusal from the investigation of Russia. Did you agree with his explanation, and do you think that he convinced the American people of his explanation?
Yes, I do. I think it was extremely factual, and it was sincere. He was not hiding anything, and he laid his cards on the table and basically said, look, I'm in a lot of situations where ambassadors are there. I never had a direct conversation with any ambassador, including the Russians, to collude in any manner. And by the way, there's no evidence to suggest it. All this is innuendo.
David, Brad, thank you for joining us this morning. A big fiery day again in Washington. Thank you, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Of the Attorney General Jeff Sessions' testimony yesterday, a question we've been asking is, should former AG Loretta Lynch now have to testify about her role in pushing James Comey, the ex-FBI director, to call the Hillary Clinton email investigation a matter instead of an investigation? Well, joining us now, criminal defense attorney David Bruno and Brad Blakeman, former advisor to President George W. Bush. David, Brad, good to see both of you.
Good morning, Lauren.
All right, I'll start with you, David. Can Loretta Lynch be charged with obstruction of justice for asking Jim Comey and the FBI to downplay that investigation into the email server of Hillary Clinton?
Very premature, and right now I don't think so. But certainly there could be an investigation, and she could testify, or there could be an FBI investigation into what she did. Let's not forget, these congressional committees are only for oversight, and they're only for investigative purposes. They do not have the ability to actually charge. So if the FBI investigation did open up, we wouldn't even know that at this point.
Well, next steps here, Brett. Let's talk about it because, got sessions yesterday. We may see former Attorney General Lynch on Capitol Hill soon. Have we heard anything about that? And also, has the Attorney General's office really just become too politicized in these events?
Well, I think it's become politicized under the Obama administration. There's no doubt about it. I don't think that's the case under the Trump administration. If anything, they're trying to clean it up and restore order and the kind of decorum that you'd expect from a Justice Department, to be free from political oversight or intimidation. But one thing is for sure, Lynch now has opened herself up to at least a congressional investigation. And by the way, the FBI is watching these testimonies too. So they can open an investigation, and certainly we wouldn't know that if it happened. But there is some kind of jeopardy, legal jeopardy for Loretta Lynch, if in fact she told Comey, which Comey testified to under oath, that he was told to dumb down the language so that it wouldn't appear that Hillary Clinton was under investigation. Also, the really interesting part is she's also open to questioning on the tarmac meeting with Bill Clinton.
Those are excellent points. But let's go back to Sessions yesterday, David. He refused to answer questions about his personal conversations with Donald Trump, and a lot of Democratic senators want to know why he was doing that. In fact, Senator Ron Wyden accused him of stonewalling. What do you make of that? Is there anything there? Is he constitutionally correct here? Can he be charged or held in contempt?
Yeah, he denied the stonewalling. He said, I'm not stonewalling. And he was asked multiple times to come up with an actual directive or something in writing, which he didn't. But it was after the hearing that a memo was released. It's actually a 1982 memo in the Ronald Reagan administration. And I read from it. Reagan wrote, the department head shall expressly indicate that the purpose of this request is to protect the privilege pending a presidential decision, and that the request itself does not constitute a claim of privilege. So he actually does have some precedent to do what he did yesterday.
David, Brad, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right, thanks, guys.